Hey, welcome to another episode of Modern Art Blitz. We are live at 5 Pacific Time every Sunday, and of course archived on YouTube and Facebook and mediums yet to be invented. I'm Matt Gleason, I'm your host, and my lovely co-host is next to me here, Lisa Derrick.
Hi, Matt.
How you doing?
Really good.
What'd you do this week?
Oh, I did something sneaky, and it involves you.
What?
I entered you in a contest to be painted by James Franco.
Explain.
Okay, James Franco is doing portraits. You can win a portrait painted by James Franco. And the funds, the $10 entry fee, I know I didn't spend a whole lot on you, Matt, but goes to benefit the foundation RED, which fights HIV/AIDS. And the winner is flown to LA. In this case, maybe they'll Uber Black you to the hotel, and Franco will paint you.
Okay.
Now,
okay.
Franco's artwork doesn't suck horribly, but he does paint the... No. But his painting Fat Stallion is great, except he wrote Fat Stallion across it. So I assume that the winning portrait, which I hope will be yours, will say Matt Gleason across it. But maybe he'll paint your dog Aber.
Leave my dog Ibar out of this. It's my one true love.
Not
So go on. Tell me more.
Tell you more about James Franco's art?
Oh God, no. We don't want the ratings of the show to tank. Okay. So hey, we have a really good show today.
Tell me who's on it.
Well, we have the legendary artist Shag. Via his Learjet from the Orange County John Wayne Airport, flew into Chinatown today, and we limoed him over in a Prius. And
we spare no expense, do we?
But before that, we're going to have the inimitable Greg Escalante, who's owner, proprietor of not one but two galleries in the Southland, Copro Gallery at Bergamot Station and the new Gregorio Escalante Gallery in Chinatown.
And he's also one of the founders of Juxtapoz Magazine.
One of the founders of Juxtapoz Magazine. And I remember when Juxtapoz came out, like it was yesterday, and it's been 20 some years now.
Greg is an amazing supporter of the Los Angeles and Southern California art scene, and I can't wait to pick his brain.
Oh, okay. Okay, Hannibal Lecter, we'll get to that. So, well, hey, why don't we get going since we have such two high-powered guests?
And we have intern Rebekah.
Well, we do have a commercial coming up, yes, with our fabulous intern Rebekah. So let's get started. There's so much to do on the show today. I can't wait. Our first guest is a native Southern Californian of the legendary Escalante clan of about, I don't know, I think there was like 20 kids, I don't know. We'll get to that in a minute. But he is one of the co-founders of Juxtapoz Magazine. He has two galleries in Southern California. He is a curator, a collector, and an all-around supporter of the arts, a pioneer. Give it up for Greg Escalante. So you're gonna sit right here, Mr. Escalante, in the hot seat. Welcome to the show.
It's good to be here.
So Greg, you've been involved in the arts for countless years, but please count them. When did you get into art?
It probably started in 1989 or something. Maybe that would be a time when getting involved meant that I supported a show that my friend Bolton Colburn was helping to curate at Laguna Art Museum on this artist named Craig Stesic called Papa Moana. And I had a job being probably a stock commodity broker or a bond broker, because I did both. And I was making some money, and he asked if I would donate towards that show. And I liked art enough, and I liked Stesic's art and Bolton, so I tried it, and then I saw how museums worked and supporting the arts, and and maybe I was starting to collect art right about then too.
Oh, okay. So what were some of the first artworks you bought?
Well, maybe it started this way. Is right about that time, maybe even before that, I think, yeah. I got this issue of Thrasher magazine, which is a skateboard magazine. I had a subscription, and on the cover, all of a sudden I looked at it, and it was kind of like the wildest art I had ever seen. And I didn't know any art like that existed. The closest I could say is it looked like Salvador Dali had been reincarnated into Hollywood, Los Angeles, and did this amazing surreal painting with all these elements that like push buttons.
Who was that?
What artist was that?
That was this guy named Robert Williams.
Oh.
Wow. And never heard of him.
And then you went on to found Juxtapoz Magazine later with Robert Williams.
Yeah. So I saw this art and thought like, I did study art in college at Cal State Long Beach, but that art world didn't do anything for me. It was just a way to get my ceramics degree. But when I saw this art, I didn't know art could be like this and speak to me like this. And so, but the only other artist that I thought was completely mind-blowing and amazing was Salvador Dali. But, the window for me to collect his art was like, there's no possible way. So I thought, wow, here's like, my culture's equivalent, doing crazy stuff. Maybe I could buy one of these. And I recognized Craig Stesick took the photos for the article, and I didn't know him that well then, and I called up Bolton, who worked at the museum at that time as a registrar, later he was a director, and I said, can you find out from Craig how much these are? And then he called me back and goes, here's Robert Williams' phone number, and I just go, whoa, because I didn't, and I didn't know who this guy was and how crazy this art was. Just somehow in my head, I had, I was calling up Charles Manson, like some crazy guy that just does art, and so I
don't think you're the first person to have connected Charles Manson and Robert Williams as somehow equals, peers maybe.
A kinship. Yeah. So it was that thing where you get the number and just go, I don't want to know that bad. I don't want to call that guy, I just like.
He might be really creepy.
Yeah, so then after 2 weeks, I just got like in the right mood. It was on my desk looking at it every day, and I just dialed it, called him up, and as people say, he was like Fred McMurray, he was like the nicest, like all his weirdness went onto the canvas, all his psychosis, all that stuff, but he was just the most normal, nice, even like Southern gentleman guy with good manners and a nice wife and a nice suburban home, and he invited me out, and I spent all this time with him and had a great day, and subsequently bought that first piece of art that was on the cover of that magazine, almost ironically, from his next show, which was his New York show. Wow.
So now take us through, like, you knew Robert and his wife Suzanne then for a couple of years, and then did you all just one day say, did one of you say, I've got an idea, or was it more conversational and organic that you came up with the idea for Juxtapoz Magazine?
It was different than that. Robert Williams had a lot of fans, and this one girl whose name was Michelle DeLeo was a fan, and she worked at this publication out of New York called Outlaw Biker Publications, and they did tattoo magazines, like International Tattoo Magazine, stuff like that. And so she was always like just happy to talk to Robert, call him up, and then Robert's talking to her and figuring out what she does. He goes, you should pitch your publishers on doing an art magazine that's related to tattoo art, and skateboard art, surf art, and wild surreal art. A magazine that would be really good, like Dali used to be involved with, and Picasso, back before World War II, put it out of business, a magazine back then that was called the Minotaur. So she went to them with the whole pitch, and back then magazines, it was the end of magazines growing, and they wanted more titles, and they said, yeah, we'll do it. So they did this thing, and it was called Art Alternatives. Art with a question mark, and then Alternatives, which was a great name. It ended up coming out for about 5 issues, then they had problems, and we needed a new publisher. Since Thrasher had featured Robert before, I thought it was a good idea to pitch those guys. So I talked with Robert, and I pitched them, and he agreed. And then I became an investor, and we just went whole hog, and it was good from day one.
Oh, yeah. Now, Juxtapoz is pretty much an art world legend, and I believe it's still the top-selling art magazine out there.
Yeah.
Now, and this is now 20 years, so what do you do after 20 years? Do you think Juxtapoz tries to top itself or just stays consistent, or what's going on here?
It definitely has improved because it went from this kind of more rectangular thing to like a longer thing that shows off the art better. It got better paper. I think it has more pages than it's ever had, and maybe even more ads than it's ever had, so counter trend to the general publishing magazine world.
I mean, magazines are dying, and here's a magazine that's actually still growing, still getting advertisers. What is it about Juxtapoz that you think makes it still solvent in, I mean, look, Art News and Art in America have merged. So it's not specific to art magazines. They're all going away. What is it about Juxtapoz?
Well, to me, it's so simple, that it was, like Robert Williams said, it was the art magazine that we always wanted. To me, it was like, if I would read an article in Art Forum about art, it would frustrate me so much, it would make me hate everything. Hate the art in it, hate the guy that wrote it, hate how smart he was trying to sound. Make me, I thought I liked that art, and it would make my blood boil, like in math class when you couldn't figure out the algebra, you just hate it. But when you would read an art article in Vanity Fair or Cosmopolitan, and it was more biographical and more not heady and intellectual.
And pop, like where you could get into it. It was more that new journalism of Tom Wolfe as opposed to the academic ivory tower beyond SAT words.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was informative, it was educational, it was entertaining, sometimes it was funny, and there was, that all went on in the art world in little groups and clusters, that's why people like art, the artists get together, that was all going on, but there was no magazine that had that voice, and it seemed like at that time in LA, and these guys out of Seattle actually first identified it. They go, man, there's an art movement going on that's taking place right now, but no one has given it a name or championed it and like that. So the magazine kind of helped make that thing happen.
And they called that movement LowBrow. What do you think of the name LowBrow? Were you there at the meeting where it was decided we're going to call this art LowBrow? Was there a vote taken?
No, but there was a meeting to change that name from LowBrow to something else.
Which was?
Maybe they changed it to pop surrealism from that. Some
right,
people
and now
got
there's
together.
like,
but
it's
still
two different
LowBrow.
things.
Well, when it became LowBrow, it wasn't like no one had a meeting to do it. It was because Robert Williams had this vision of how to do an art movement, and he set himself up as an example of success on how to do an art movement. And a few artists, whether doing it on purpose, knowing it or not, followed in those footsteps. And I'll say Shag, who's going to be on next, was one of them. Liz McGrath, which was another one of them. And
look. I mean, we could have the rest of the episode just naming these names. I mean, it's become one of the biggest movements. But last week on the show we had Anthony Ausgang as a guest, and he said he felt lowbrow had kind of run its course. He went through the lowbrow scene, and I mean, not to set him up for failure. I mean, he's moving into a more psychedelic direction. I mean, is lowbrow exhausted?
Well, first of all, it was just a name that Robert Williams coined when he did his first book called The Lowbrow Art of Robert Williams. And just the fact that there was any kind of an art movement and he was the only game in town, it got that name from there. Right. But the minute it got traction, it got going, nobody really wanted to be called a lowbrow artist because it wasn't a positive thing. It's like,
I remember in the LA punk scene, there were so many bands. Well, we're not a punk band. We just play loud rock and roll like we want to play. So I can kind of relate to that the thing. But there's obviously, maybe you call it pop surrealism, or maybe you call it.
There's contemporary surrealism.
New contemporary art is a big one they've latched on.
So there's
narratives.
I have a theory that because people didn't like that name and the name keeps changing, that it kept the movement going on for a long time. Because I think an art movement that's lasted over 20 years is a long-lasting art movement.
Well, here's something interesting about Juxtapoz and maybe the evolution of Juxtapoz. But I looked at the new issue, actually on the bookshelf at your gallery, and on the front cover, the names of there's some articles about these people, and the magazine says Ellsworth Kelly. Now this is the antithesis, the polar opposite of everything that I believe Juxtapoz maybe basically stood for, being against, the standard bearers of modernism as they were. But, we have Ellsworth Kelly he's not a narrative painter. He's not a figurative painter. He's, rigid abstraction. And Juxtapoz is talking about him.
Yeah, because we were happy he finally died. Of course, that's a bad joke. No, we love Ellsworth Kelly, and we also, it's not like it's all part of this art world. Juxtapoz just wanted this one facet.
I think it's better if you own that joke. That was
really good.
That was you can't top that one, Greg. So now in addition to magazines though and collecting, you are a curator of shows here. I mean you curate shows in your own gallery. What year did you start Copro Gallery?
Guy, that was back like about 20 years ago, like right about maybe a year before Juxtapoz started.
And now, think about this. Copro Gallery, the average gallery lasts 3 years,
Yeah.
And the average, it's a long-lasting gallery, but you're not happy with just having one gallery in Santa Monica. You have to have another gallery.
With his own name on it.
Well, you have a gallery now? Yeah.
Yeah, branded Gregorio Escalante Gallery.
Yeah. So what brought on the desire to have two galleries?
Well, I quit my day job, which was as a bond trader. So I came up with all this free time that wanted to do more art projects. And Juxtapoz was like going good and up in San Francisco, so I couldn't get more involved there really. And Copro Gallery was going good, and Gary Pressman is a good art gallery runner and businessman with his girlfriend Rebekah. They do a really good job. So it seemed too clashing for me to go in, and since it was making some money and going forward, I just thought I could start a new one with a new vision, which should maybe represent artists more instead of just do, art shows as much. And because I'm kind of more of a long-term thinker, try to develop careers. That's what my kind of penchant, or whatever the focus would be.
Look, my gallery's your neighbor in Chinatown, and since you've opened, it's been great, and you brought a lot to the neighborhood. The shows have been interesting, but they're still definitely in your lowbrow pop surrealism aesthetic. I see that the movement has a wide variety of painterly approaches, pictorial approaches, I guess you could say. Does Gregorio Escalante intend to show the breadth of this type of art?
Probably, yeah. The aesthetic is really close to Copro's because I like everything that they show there. I really like Gary's aesthetic. It's just that, I don't know, just kind of a longer term vision with maybe the artist I'm trying to work with.
Yeah. Now, in running a gallery, do you basically pick the artists from there's obviously a large pool of talented artists. What's the difference between an artist who's qualified relative to their art and their sales potential, and the artists, some you pick, some you don't? Is there a defining factor?
Well, there's some artists that I think are at the very top of the art game. Like there's really no one any better than them, like the artists that we have up now. But like maybe he's kind of obscure because he only does 1 or 2 paintings a year and he hasn't been promoted that much. And if I can afford to do that show because I just love his art so much, I'll do that show.
Great.
But other times you got to think about business and that the artist has to sell and have a following and a buying base and stuff like that.
How do you curate a show for sale? Is there something like if you think I got to sell this art, is there a way to hang the art that's a little different than if it's just a tribute show and you don't mind if it doesn't make money because you want to give the guy give an artist exposure?
Not a different way to hang it, or just the choice of the artist, let's say.
Now, would you say would that be a show you advertise more heavily?
Well, it's like ideally the plan is to do things a certain way, but right now we're trying to advertise them as good as we can. I mean, we kind of...
And I've noticed you advertise a lot in Juxtapoz Magazine. What a coincidence.
Well, I kind of believe in it. It's not like my partnership or making money or I get a discount. I have to pay for the ads and stuff like that.
But it's the right placement. I mean, it's not Art in America.
If you're not getting a discount, wait a minute. You're the owner, right? Or you're one of the owners.
But he's a fair and reasonable businessman, clearly.
I definitely don't. I definitely get maybe a friends and family rate, or just that we've advertised since the first issue, but other galleries are paying the same amount I'm paying, and they made me a little deal in the beginning to help me out. But I just think
no favoritism. Editorially,
I have a question. The name Copro, is that related to coprophagy?
yes.
Okay, thank you.
We're not the only ones. There's a website, the art website
Right.
that's very popular called Fecal Face.
Right,
I'm not
but you
sure.
guys are a little more, yeah.
Well, it came from a Robert Williams painting. It was like a Dada experiment in naming your gallery, the Joe Copro. And
Well, also, but I like it that it's co-pro, so it's together professionals. It's a lovely pun, but
we co-produce a lot of things.
Yes.
it's about poop.
Poop.
So tell us what you have coming up, what you have now at Gregorio Escalante. What's coming up?
Well, the artist that I was just touting earlier is named Brian Maines.
Okay.
And he's an LA-based artist that is an amazing painter.
Very surreal, very demonic.
He has a vision and a language that is so specific, like to me, it like just spoke to me as much as any other artist. I don't understand it. He can't even explain it, but it's so maybe legitimate or just so uncontrived and surreal that it's amazing.
And as much pop surrealism, expertly crafted.
Yeah, he's a master painter, and it's kind of dark. I guess I like dark because it seems like that's an intense statement. And the next artist is even darker, probably.
Wow.
Is dark in? Is
Yeah.
I don't know what's in. I just do what I like. I do it anyway. But like this next guy's name's Michael Criley, and he's another LA artist. And this guy's never had a show. So in the beginning, I had room to do shows that maybe might be harder to sell than known brand names. But I'm so happy to do both these shows, just to do them, because the next show, Michael Criley, is all about state mental institutions and lobotomies, basically.
That is so awesome, and I love that you're championing artists that haven't been seen a lot.
I don't want a lobotomy.
Or a bottle in front of me.
Well, I'd rather have a bottle in front of me than to have a frontal lobotomy. That might be a copyright saying. I don't know.
But how do you find the unknown artists that you show? Do they come to you? Do you?
Well, I like art a lot, so I find stuff on Instagram and Facebook sometimes, and if it's like mind-blowing art, I try to get to know those people.
Much the same way that you discover Robert Williams on the cover of Thrasher magazine, the social media of its time, you're still very active and engaged in current media.
Well, Meg Linton, the gallery director at Otis for a while, knew about Brian Maines and the teachers there, and he's like an artist, like those artists, even though he's not, killing it in the commercial world. They respect him in the painter's world. So she wanted me to see him because she thought it was amazing and he would be good in Juxtapoz. And she finally did an article on him in Juxtapoz that came out like 8 months ago or something. And then at the last minute, I was able to have this gallery and give her a show. So he's one of the first guys I wanted to give a show to.
Cool, man, cool. Well, look, 2016 and on is looking great for Gregorio Escalante, for your gallery, looking great for Greg Escalante as Juxtapoz keeps rocking ahead. Copro Gallery in Santa Monica. I mean, you got a lot going on. Do you ever sleep?
Not too much.
But you do surf.
Yeah, so one show, if you want to know like a future show, it looks like in July we're going to have a show by this guy named Jorge Gutierrez, who did this animation movie called The Book of Life that Guillermo del Toro produced.
Oh, right.
And that will be in July, and I just happen to know that LACMA is doing a Guillermo del Toro show that'll open in July too. So we'll have these. It'll celebrate Guillermo del Toro even more, and he's
Great
like,
connection.
That's beautiful. He's amazing.
He's like a pillar of Juxtapoz, even though maybe he hasn't been in it, but just his aesthetic, everything.
Well, and he's
awesome,
really
man.
nice dude.
So we have lots
too,
to look forward to from you. So I want to thank you for being a guest
Thank you.
on Modern Art Blitz. Greg Escalante.
Always a pleasure to have
the
you,
one
Greg.
and only. Thanks, Greg.
Thanks, Greg.
Okay, and now we have a commercial because we got to pay the bills. We have a commercial, and to do the commercial is our intern Rebekah. Hey, Rebekah.
Hi.
We're talking to Mike. You got to get
I
that.
know,
Get
sorry,
it close.
sorry,
Oh, you're
sorry.
gonna. Okay. How was your
Right
week?
now? It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No
It went by.
problem in school.
No.
No.
We watch a lot of documentaries.
Jeez, man. I had nuns. We didn't believe in documentaries. So, okay, so here's our commercial.
And here we have it. Did you know that Ling's Market has been furnishing beer and wine to Chinatown since 1974?
I did not know that.
I didn't
Fascinating.
either. We have a fine selection of beers and 3 varieties of wine, red, white, and rosé.
Okay.
Our beer and wine are delicious, or Mr. Ling is not happy. Once you buy beer and wine from Mr. Ling's, you will laugh at the people who shop at Trader Joe's with the confidence of a true elitist. Please enjoy. Please enjoy our fine beverages responsibly. You don't want to anger Mr. Ling.
Right on.
Ling's is at 974 Chungking Road, and we've got soda pop and water in a glass bottle for the kids, too.
Yay! All right. Thank you, Rebekah. Intern Rebekah. All right. And now, for our next guest, I want to say the man needs no introduction, but if we must introduce him, I can say that he is a pioneer of bringing the modern aesthetic into the pop surrealist vocabulary. And he is a wildly successful and a creative visionary. Ladies and gentlemen out there on the internet land, in front of your computer or your phone, give a big round of applause to Shag.
Shag, one of my favorite 4-letter words.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Hi, Shag.
All right. I have to say it's an honor to have you on the show.
It's great to be here.
Okay, good. I'm glad you're happy to be here. As you can see, we're surrounded by your. We have a monitor there,
Oh my
you can see
gosh.
the artwork. We're now in Shagland.
I can
I've
touch
always
the
wanted to be a character
moon.
in a Shag painting, and
I'm dressed for it
yeah,
today.
You're almost as modern as it gets there, Lisa. So Shag, let's start at the beginning. Where are you from?
I was born near Pasadena.
Oh,
Lived
so
in
you're
Hawaii
SoCal.
for the first 8 years of my life, and then back in Southern California.
Now, did Hawaii give you some of this tiki aesthetic that you're
You know,
known
I
for?
think it did. It was subconscious.
Subconscious. I mean, yeah, until you're 8
You were
years
surrounded
old.
by it as, I was a little kid.
Okay.
And it was everywhere. And I think when I started doing my own art, it definitely had an influence on it.
And now, where did you go to high school?
I actually went to high school in Utah. My parents.
Oh, wow.
I was raised
Really?
a
You
Mormon.
moved around? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
I have 9 brothers and sisters.
Oh, wow.
And my parents had that Mormon dream where you move to Utah. They
Okay.
lived there for like the 4 years that corresponded with my high school.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Wow, that
and
was-
then did you go to college at all?
Yeah, Cal State Long Beach.
Oh, okay. So you're an alum of the what do they have a mascot? Is there a mascot for the
The 49ers.
49ers?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they have the 49ers.
Yeah, and Greg
Tavern,
went
yeah.
to Cal State Long Beach as well.
Now, did you meet Greg Escalante?
No, he was there a few years before I was.
Before you?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're the younger generation. So now, were you an art major?
Yes.
Okay.
But I actually went there as a business major originally,
really?
accounting.
Okay.
And I remember one day somebody coming into the class to talk about the accounting students softball league. And I remember thinking to myself, who would want to play softball with a bunch of accounting students? And I was like,
Is that kind of the genesis towards going towards art?
yeah.
Now, I've said to a lot of art majors, like, if you really know what you want to do and you have your vocabulary, maybe study business, because so much of success in the art world depends on business. Would you? I mean, maybe you're a testament to that.
Well, maybe not so much the numbers and accounting, but like getting it done when you say you're going to get it done.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a gallery. If it comes down to 2 artists who you like equally, and one always gets his or her work in on time, and the other one, you have to drive over to the house half an hour before the show opens to get
All
it.
things being equal,
Yeah.
somebody with a professionalness.
So yeah, just something like that. I think that's kind of the what you could take from business as an artist to help
So
your career.
what really inspired? I mean, there's certainly a Shag signature style.
An aesthetic that is distinctly yours.
Yeah. What inspired this, and how did it evolve?
Well, I worked for almost 10 years as a commercial illustrator, mostly in the record industry in LA, working a lot of different styles. But on the side, I was kind of working in the Shag style, which was also based on commercial art from the 50s and early 60s. But it was something I kind of just liked for myself, and I didn't think a lot of other people would like it. And I never really intended to be the kind of artist who would do a painting and put it on a gallery wall. I thought I was going to be an illustrator.
Oh, okay.
For my profession.
And now you worked for many years in the record industry. Is there a record album? Did you ever have like an album that like a gold record or anything?
No, nothing big like that.
No?
A lot of the stuff I did was indie labels, some punk stuff, some 60s garage stuff like that.
Okay, so the like the 80s when everybody was making like the DIY aesthetic was at its apogee there.
Yeah.
Really. Okay. Wow. So when was your first gallery show?
Well, a friend called me up in 1995 and said, I got you a gallery show. And I said, well, I told you I'm not that kind of artist.
Wow, good friend.
Well, it was one wall at Cacao Coffee House in Santa Monica.
Cacao
Which is
Coffee
about the
House.
size of a bedroom, So
Wow.
I looked at the wall and I'm like, I could do 5 paintings.
Okay.
And nobody's going to want these. Nobody knows who I am. So I better paint something that I want to hang on my own wall because I'm going to end up keeping these things.
Now, when you were a commercial illustrator and doing album covers, were you going by the Shag moniker?
A little bit.
And now, how did you come up with Shag?
Well, that was when I was playing in a band myself and I did the album cover. I thought it would seem unprofessional if people looked at the album and said, hey, the guitar player did the album cover. So I had to come up with a name for the artist who did the cover. And it's taken from my own name, which is Josh Agel.
Okay, so it's the last 2 letters of your first name and the first 2 letters of your last name.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
it fits the aesthetic. I remember I was in Las Vegas and I walked into a nightclub and I saw a nightclub you had designed.
Yeah.
That was pretty
at
amazing.
The Venetian.
That was like mind-blowing. And then what like totally enamored me of you, and I'm not a big fan of mid-century modern, but your work has really made me appreciate it a lot more. I was at Disneyland for Bats Day at Disneyland, which is Goth Day, and the absinthe and laudanum had just kicked in, and I was outside the tiki room and I saw your postcards, and it was a collision of 2 of my worlds, and I was thrilled. How did your collaboration with Disney come about?
Well, I'd heard for a couple of years that Disney wanted to work with me, and I thought, that's great. I'd grown up going to Disneyland, and nobody ever called me. And then finally one day somebody did call me from Disney, and they asked if I wanted to work with them, and I couldn't turn them down. They're...
Was that Mickey, Pluto? Who makes the calls? I'm assuming Goofy's not really too high up.
Minnie is in charge. Minnie's in charge. Yeah, it's Minnie, baby.
Somebody calling from the Green Office building right next to Disneyland, and
Oh, yeah?
I took a meeting and...
Oh yeah. So now where do you live now?
I split my time between Lemon Heights, which is in Orange County, and Palm Springs.
Okay, now you have a big Palm Springs connection because you have the Shag store out there, yes?
Yes.
Yeah, and now you have a Shag store on Melrose, correct?
Oh, my gosh.
There's only 2 so
There's
far.
only 2, yeah.
Okay, so how did that come about?
Well, before that, I showed in Palm Springs at a gallery called M Modern Gallery. And the owner of the gallery called me one day and said, hey, this space came up on Palm Canyon, which is the main drag through town in Palm Springs. And we were thinking of opening a gallery there. But since 90% of our sales is your work, can we just open a Shag-themed gallery? And I said, yeah, but we can't call it a gallery. It's got to be a store.
Why didn't you want to call it a gallery?
It seemed too highfalutin, and it seemed too much like those artists like Thomas Kincaid or Weiland, who does the whales,
So you wanted to stay away from because they're having a pretense to art. You've had a lot of art world success, so you could pull back from that pretense.
Yeah.
And I was even thinking like with Thomas Kincaid, he has all these franchises, and he became kind of synonymous with like sick marketing. But you're very hands on, right?
Yeah. Well, and I look at those artists, and also like Patrick Nagel. Remember Nagel?
Oh,
in the
yeah.
80s?
Oh, Nagel.
How their careers went, and I kind of try to do exactly the opposite of them.
Stay off the treadmill.
So there's no DNA, your DNA is not in any of your artwork.
Well, it is accidentally. When I'm painting and I make a mistake, I lick my finger and rub it off. And
Right. But you have Christmas cards, which you have like a variety of merchandise. Is that available at the Shag stores?
yeah, and that's about the only place it's available. That's another way I try to differentiate it from a lot of other artists who kind of embrace merchandising or mass marketing. I want to confine it to just the Shag store.
So you control the means of production.
So is it available on the internet through a Shag store
Yeah.
website? Okay,
Yeah.
so but there's still a Shag store brand. Now is there, are you, you've done business now, so let's hear it. Are there any plans to push forward for a third Shag store?
Well, a psychic came to our grand opening and told me that we were going to open a third store within 2 years.
Wow.
So immediately, my partner Jay Naylor at the Shag store and I sat down and said, "Where is that going to be?" My thinking is like, well, it's got to be in Manhattan, which is
Okay, well that's
sort of pie in the sky. But then Melrose was pie in the sky a year ago as well.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. That's. I mean, these things do have a way of just popping up. Now, do you on Melrose? And I went to the opening of the store. I had a great time. I'm a Shag fan, and I'm wondering, what's the most popular item there?
On Melrose, the most popular item is this sort of embroidered pillow, a Los Angeles pillow. It has kind of like the tourist highlights of Los Angeles, but the ones I like.
That's a classic theme in tourist art.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So do you think your main customers at the store are tourists, or are they Angelinos?
No, they're locals.
They're
Yeah.
locals, and
Locals, yeah.
they want their own.
But they would
souvenir.
never buy like a straight Los Angeles souvenir.
Yeah.
But since this one is kind of from the Shag angle, and it's also a little bit musical, I quote songs about LA, from the Circle Jerks to the Mamas and the Papas.
Awesome.
And,
Wow.
Okay, now I'm like, oh man, how are they still open?
What,
Like,
the store?
Yeah, now I want to rush
You
and
want
go
to
get
rush
one.
before they get out
Yeah,
there?
yeah.
So somebody made an observation once that the Cirque du Soleil is basically performance art. But if they had called it performance art, they'd still be street artists in Montreal, where they're from. So I'm looking at you calling the Shag Gallery, the Shag store is actually giving you a longevity by taking out that pretense to art, and yet still giving people a great fine art experience. Your work is certainly consumer friendly. I mean, do you look at it as like making art for the masses, or are you making art for yourself still?
Well, I mean, ultimately it's for myself, and I'm glad the masses like it. And have to take a little bit of that into consideration when you're doing paintings or original art. But I think if I start just thinking, what would people like, and start doing that, I think people won't like it,
Yeah?
The reason people, I think, those first 5 paintings I did at Cacao Coffee House, which sold immediately, surprising me, I think they appealed to people because I had done them for myself, and I had stuck the things I was really attracted to, and it turned out other people on this planet were attracted to the same things.
So Shag makes art for Shag first.
Yeah.
Okay, so I actually was in. I actually saw a musical, Shag the musical.
Yeah.
How did I bring this up? I mean, you've had a lot of successes, but one of the reasons you've had a lot of successes is because you've tried a number of things along the way.
Yeah.
So Shag the musical that came, and is it being performed out there?
No, that ran for 3 months in LA, and then it moved to Vegas and ran for a year in Vegas.
Wow.
It's just it was like a flushing toilet full of money every week.
Oh, wait. You mean the money was, you were making the money, or
No,
you were
the
just
money
throwing
was
the money
going
away?
down the.
Now, was there investors? You didn't get involved?
Yeah,
in
there
this?
were investors.
Okay.
And who wrote the music for this?
A guy named Chris Norris, who's a composer. He does a lot of TV and movie soundtrack stuff.
Okay.
Wow.
So you try a lot of things, and they don't all work, but they're all fun,
and
right?
I like on this musical, I had one sort of thing I said there could be no dialogue in it. I wanted it all to be told through dance and music and song.
Yeah.
And that was like a little bit of a fence I put around it because I didn't want to give the human beings in my paintings voices.
Okay.
And for the same reason I don't do animation, I don't want to give them personalities or
Have you had an offer to like make a Shag cartoon?
I get
But you
offers
don't want
all the
to.
time. Yeah.
Why not?
Because once you fix that personality and that voice to something out of a painting, it's there forever. And I have no control over it.
So we're looking at the mummy here. So basically,
In an
if
Eames
this
chair.
mummy was a cartoon, and Cleopatra there, and the cat would have its personality, and so it's forever.
Yeah, and it's out of my hands now.
I might think that's a sweet cat, but the cartoon, that could be the bad guy, right?
Yeah.
So
Your cats are so awesome, I have to say. As someone who has a cat, I know you're not fond of the cats, But your cats, like the tail and their face, I love them.
I'm fond of Shag's cats.
Yes, you are.
Yes,
Now-
because I don't have any allergies to Shag's cats.
Oh, you're allergic. Now, do
So-
you do commission work?
Rarely. I might do 1 or 2 a year.
You did more previously. You don't have to do it now, so
Yeah.
you
Right.
just
I'd
now,
rather do something I thought of than something
people come to
somebody-
you with crazy ideas.
yeah.
Now take us from your first coffee shop show to do an animation for Disney. What were the highlights there? Were there some career highlights that you look back on now?
After that first coffee shop show, I got invited to be in a group show at La Luz de Jesus Gallery, which is sort of that and 01 were the two sort of ground zeros of lowbrow art in.
You picked the right one, by the way.
Because you got your art back from them.
So I had never pictured ever being in a gallery like that. You know, that was something lofty for real artists. I didn't consider myself a real artist. In fact, I didn't call myself an artist for probably 5 or 6 years when I was showing in galleries.
Wow.
I'd tell people I was a painter, which is a little different. Being an artist seemed too pretentious almost, you know? You know, I was making paintings. People were buying these paintings, and that was how I was making my living. But the idea of that I would call myself an artist seemed a little...
Lofty.
Yeah.
So, can you now, on our show, Modern Art Blitz, call yourself an artist?
Can you
I do,
cross that
because,
line?
You know, since I started showing paintings, you know, this sort of world has developed around Shag, and I have a really heavy hand in how that world looks and how it works and what supports it, and it's become sort of more a work of art than just a guy in his studio making these paintings that go to the gallery and sell.
So what were some other highlights? After La Luz, you moved up in the world? Did you get a solo show pretty quick after that?
Yeah, and you know, people in the art world don't like to say it, but money counts, and my paintings were selling.
Yeah,
And so Billy Shire, the owner of the gallery, offered me a solo show, and from there I moved to Billy Shire on Washington Boulevard in Culver City, and started showing in New York as well. And that's, you know, it's kind of the ultimate dream for an artist to be able to show.
Oh yeah, absolutely. How many solo shows do you have a year now?
2.
2. One in New York, one in LA?
No, I show every 2 years. So I'll show in New York, then Australia, then LA, then Tokyo.
And do you have representation, or are you just bopping around?
I'm just bopping around.
Yeah.
I mean, I implicit agreements with these galleries that I'm going to be exclusive in those regions.
Okay.
So I'm not going to show in elsewhere in New York or in New Jersey or Philadelphia or something.
Okay, so if you show in the LA metropolitan area, you're not going to go right to the board. You're not going to find a gallery in La Mirada or Buena Park and put up something there. Okay.
Now, is the Shag store going to be your gallery, or are you going to continue to show with another gallery?
I'm going to continue to show with another gallery because the Shag store doesn't sell original paintings. It sells prints and it sells merchandise.
Fabric, does it? I'm like
Yeah,
so loving your
shirts.
like you've created this whole Shag world, and I'm kind of grooving on the fabric, especially because it's bright green and the way it's affecting with the green screen. Have you noticed that?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, it's really cool.
Oh yeah. Look, you're merging into
Right.
ancient Egypt.
And
That's
for a
kinda the way
while
it
he
should
was
be.
pink.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
So when you do you ever take your images and license them out?
I did that a lot earlier in my career as an artist, and then I started feeling like there was too much of it out there. You know, when you could walk into a Hallmark store and see greeting cards or something like that. And I let those contracts lapse so that there wasn't so much out there in the wide world that I didn't have control over, and sort of pulled it into the Shag store, where I do have complete control artistically.
And is there any product you ever made that you now say, oh, I'll never do that again?
No, there are companies I wouldn't work with again. And you know, there were a lot of product offers that I said no to. I have this policy where it's got to be a useful product or it's got to be a piece of art. It can't fall in that weird region between, like a snow globe. It's not useful and it's not a piece of art. So I said no Shag snow globes.
No Shag. Yeah. There will be no Shag snow globes.
Wow.
So is there any you make these shirts as clothing. I mean, are some things more lucrative than others? But you just do one. You don't make as much money, but it's more fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You don't make a lot of money on clothing.
Yeah.
At least I don't. But it's fun to have it out there. It's fun to see people wearing it around.
Yeah. Now, are you recognized when you go out? Do people go, "Hey, you're Shag"? Mm-hmm. Now, have you ever seen somebody in a Shag shirt that you had to walk up to and say, "Hey, I'm the guy who designed that"?
No, I never would do that.
No?
No.
No?
And I took my kids to the fair a couple of years ago, and there was a woman who had a big Shag tattoo on her back, and I just went up to her and I said, "Hey, can I take a picture of that?"
And she had no idea?
I didn't tell her I had done the art or that I was Shag or anything. And I'm taking a picture and my kids are like, "My dad did that art."
Okay, look at the green screen.
I love this.
Yeah.
This is our first experiment.
Our first green screen shirt. And wow, we've actually kind of conquered the green screen here. You're actually adding characters
great.
to the.
Look at them.
You've got the Shag gorilla, and now he's in this other painting. Which artwork are we looking at now?
This is a piece called 995 Skyline Drive, which I did specifically for the opening of the Shag store on Melrose.
Okay.
Sort of a party scene in the Hollywood Hills. Based on some houses I've been to up there and some parties I've been to.
Oh, okay. So that was a memorable party you actually were at.
Well, it's a conglomeration of a few of them.
Okay.
Do you put people you know? I've seen you for the Billy Shire show. You did a Billy. But do you put actual people you know?
Occasionally, yeah. And sometimes I'll put myself in or my wife.
So how long have you been married?
24 years.
Wow. How old are your kids?
I have a 17-year-old daughter and a 13-year-old son.
Wow.
That's great.
Okay. Now, are either of them artists?
They're both artistic, but
Yeah.
I didn't push them into it and I didn't encourage it.
No.
I didn't want them to feel like they were competing with their dad. And B, I wanted them to find what they liked, not what I wanted them to do.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, and where did you meet your wife?
I met her when I was playing in bands. She came to one of the bands I was in. She came to our show.
Oh, okay.
Started following us around.
Okay.
She always showed up with another guy, and I thought he was her boyfriend, so I never asked her out until another friend said, "No, she's not dating him."
So you play guitar, right? Mm-hmm. And so, what was the name of your band?
That band was the Swamp Zombies.
The Swamp Zombies.
Yeah.
And did you do originals, covers?
Mostly originals.
Mostly
Yeah.
originals. Wow. It's like surf music.
No, that was more kind of like that early 60s folk mixed with punk, so like Kingston Trio meets the Circle Jerks.
Wow.
Wow.
That's pretty wild.
And
combo.
did you make any records? Did the Swamp Zombies put
Yeah,
out?
there are a couple out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What label were you on?
Most of those were on Dr. Dream, which was an Orange County kind of punk and rockabilly. And
Wow. Okay, well, I mean, time's flying, and this is just it's blowing my mind because you've
your
done so
website?
much. So you have a website.
Yeah, simple, shag.com.
You actually got the domain shag.com.
In about 1996 or 7, when I'd only had like half an art show,
Yeah.
I kind of knew about this thing called the World Wide Web, and I thought, could an artist have a gallery on the World Wide Web?
Wow.
And I talked to one of my friends who was like sort of a techie guy, and I'm like, could an artist make a website? And he said, yeah, you could, And I said, will you make me a website?
allowed.
And I'm like, I was the only artist I had ever heard of who had a website.
Wow.
And I thought I was super forward, technologically advanced.
You're an innovator.
Now,
You've always been.
Do you have can we go on the Wayback Machine and see how advanced that website will?
I don't know. I don't think it goes back to the mid '90s.
No, really? Okay. Well, we're gonna have to dig up some.
So
Shag.
I was able to get shag.com, and then 20 years later, I'm like the most technologically retarded artist there is.
Luddite, you Luddite.
Well, you were technologically competent at the one moment you needed to be.
Exactly.
Exactly,
So,
and you were clever enough to wear a bright green shirt. Yeah, that was really brilliant.
Well, hey, we only got 2 minutes left, so I guess a lot of aspiring artists watch our show. Do you have any advice for aspiring artists?
Yeah, I say paint what you want, because that's when my career took off, when I started making paintings that I thought I was going to keep. So I didn't have to think about commercial conventions or what other people liked. And the other thing is, the thing I touched on earlier, follow through, keep your commitments. If you say you're going to drop your painting off to the gallery on Thursday, drop it off on Thursday.
Wow. Okay. I mean,
Right on.
it sounds the simplest advice, and yet very few artists I know do both of those things. So if those are the only two things you need for success, maybe you've put it together where others have failed. It was an honor to have you on the show, Shag. And I just covered my microphone, so in case I didn't. It was an honor to have you on the show, Shag.
I'm stoked beyond belief because I've never really had a chance to say more than like hi to you. So, and you never will again. Hey, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks, Matt.
And I'd like to also thank our other guest, Greg Escalante, and of course, intern Rebekah. And we do this every. Do we do this every? We do this every
Sunday. We're live at 5.
Live at 5 Pacific.
We're blitzing you at Modern Art Blitz.
There you go. So, again, thanks to everybody for this show, and we'll be back next Sunday. So, how was that, Nolan? All right, now I got to put the title on.
See your own face. Welcome to California. Place for hopes, a place for dreams, a place for scars, a place for screams. Welcome to Hollywood. Did you come here for a reason, or just because you could?